My speech is very short because Papa Shikongen has spoken much of it. So, the rest of proceedings, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, like it was said, my name is Namutenya. And Nangula is my sister. So, all my siblings have, the names are almost similar. Yeah? We have Hangula, we have Hamutenya, and those are our first names. So those years you are expected to have Maria or Mary or Huhu, but we are so lucky that we have our indigenous names. And Papa Shikongen has actually spoken about it. So it's my pleasure to be talking here today at this momentous event. And for those who probably do not know me, I am a librarian by profession. So the knowledge that we are talking about, the knowledge that we are writing, is housed in this building, and we take care of it. So we are taking care of our country knowledge. All these books that we have here are probably already in here, in this building, and they will be there for so many years to come. So as a librarian, we take care of information, and the information that I'm talking about is not just any kind of information. The information that we have, specifically professional selected, it is evaluated, and this information that we take care of is the information that will contribute to the development of this country. So if this information can be compared to food, we say that it's 110% fit for human consumption. So please give a round of applause to the librarians. So the topic that I'll be talking today is not about librarianship. It's about preserving Namibia indigenous knowledge. We spoke about knowledge, all kind of knowledge, but the knowledge that Papa Shikongen was talking here needs to be preserved as well, like any other knowledge that is available. So you're probably wondering as to why a librarian is talking about knowledge, indigenous knowledge for that matter. And what is indigenous knowledge anyway? The kids are gone. It would have been probably like they would be thinking, what is she talking about? What is indigenous knowledge? So indigenous knowledge has been summarized by various researchers as unique knowledge confined to a particular culture or society. It's also known as local knowledge, folk knowledge, people's knowledge, traditional wisdom, or traditional science. Papa Shikongen has said that. That's why I say it made actually my work very easy today. So this knowledge is generated and it's transmitted by community over a time in an effort to cope with the socio-economic environment. So the unique knowledge of our community, it's a very important facet of the world's cultural diversity, and they provide a foundation for locally appropriate sustainable development. One thing to note is that this knowledge that I'm talking about, unfortunately, is passed through generations by word of mouth. The story that we hear from our forefathers, and most of the times we find that it's not documented. And if this knowledge is not documented, it means that we don't have it here. I spoke about the information and knowledge that we take care of. What we take care of, it's what is documented. What is not documented, that's a library somewhere in somebody's mind. And unfortunately, we will not be able to take care of that. For that person, we cannot keep that person in a specific room, to tell us about that story. And when that person is no longer there, the library is burned down, unfortunately. So this knowledge that we are talking about, it's agricultural knowledge, food preparation, conservation, healthcare, education, and a wide range of other things that are happening within our society. So ladies and gentlemen, why are we talking about knowledge in a modern society? Why are we talking about indigenous knowledge in a modern society? And why should we take time anyway to learn about indigenous knowledge? Because somebody will like, do I really need to know what our forefather used to know? I mean, if I need something, I can always Google it, doesn't so? Yeah, one can say that. So most of us, or most of people, are meant to believe that when we are talking about indigenous knowledge, we are referring to witchcraft. Some people think so, like, yeah, that's witchcraft that they are talking about. Witchcraft can be part of it, yes, but there's much more that we need to learn that will actually help us to cope in this society. You know, I've always admired the indigenous way of preparing food, our indigenous way of treating various ailments, you know, our traditional dances, our traditional beliefs. And I personally can say that, you know, this kind of knowledge made us who we are today. My personal thinking is that as much as we want to embrace, you know, the modern way of living, we have to learn where we come from, our roots. We need to know where our forefathers were standing, and that's our foundation. The reason why, you know, most of us are sick day in and day out, it's because we eat what we don't know. What are you eating currently? Do you know what is in the food that you are eating? Probably not. You know, you have seen Papa Shikongenu Viz of Shikundu. You know what is in there. And you know it's good for his body. So we eat what we don't know, we drink what we don't know. And unfortunately, the phrase that says that what you don't know will not kill you doesn't apply there. Because what you don't know at this point will kill you, unfortunately. So I think our forefathers have been, you know, scientists. They have thought things through. And Papa Shikongeni just spoke of Ombike. You know, who told them how to make Ombike? It's because, you know, they thought about this and they, you know, mixed things and come up with something that, you know, will make them happy, if that is the case, or something, you know, that will contribute to the society. So why are we talking about preservation of indigenous knowledge? I'll still go back to that question. You know, the libraries that we have in the country are full of books, full of knowledge. But if you go in our libraries, there's only probably 1% or 2% of our indigenous knowledge. That means what we are taking care of is somebody's knowledge. It's good, it's contributing to our development, but we need to find, you know, to equalize that if we can. Or if it's not coming to be equal, we should at least be closer to that. Because this is Namibia. When you go to Namibia, you want to find Namibian materials. You want to, you know, talk about Namibian culture. It should be documented and it should be somewhere. So our Directorate of Namibia Library and Archive Service identified that gap. That, you know, we have so much information, but where is our information in this building? It's nowhere to be found. And what we have done then, we have introduced a project that is titled Preserve Namibia Indigenous Knowledge in 2015. That project was aimed to contribute and to enrich the preservation of indigenous knowledge for future generations, and also to assist in introducing digital systems to improve and enable easy access to indigenous knowledge. So when we are talking about indigenous knowledge, we are not scared of technology because we know technology is an enabler. So if we document this and we want it to transmit to the other person, the mode that we are going to use is technology. So we just want to make sure that our information is documented and it can be accessed by other people elsewhere. So this project was now funded by the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology. And thus far, we have carried it in 5 regions, namely Oshikoto, Oshana, Ohangwena, Omsati, and Hartsap. So what we have done is that with this project, sometimes they say if you cannot read it, you can watch it. We have done the documentaries in indigenous knowledge. So this they cannot read and they want to know about their knowledge, they can still watch it somewhere. So we have done 16 documentaries in Oshuambo, because I speak Oshuambo and I thought it would be easy for me to start from home and see how the project is going. So we have documented, this is like, if you watch these DVDs, they will tell you step by step how to do things. If you want to make omaloto, for example, some of you don't know how to make omaloto. You can just put in your documentary. If you want to write it somewhere, but we will do that for you as well. Papa Shkongene started already, so we probably don't have to duplicate. You just take your documentary, put it in on your TV or something. They'll tell you step by step. And we have identified experts for every activity that we have documented. So they will tell you how to make oshipundu, how to cook oshifima, all those kind of things. Why we have done that is also that, we are talking about poverty. Sometimes we have materials or we have ingredients, but we don't know how to make something. But if you have now information on a documentary, you'll be able to take this ingredient, mix it with this one, and come up with something that will help you. We have also, so the things that we have done Omaongo. I don't know, some of the things I don't even know them in English, but I think, people who can speak Oshwango will understand. We have made Ojove. If you don't know, documentary step by step. Lots of people now really like indigenous food, but we don't know how to make this indigenous food. Omai, that beautiful thing that you put on your chicken. Omaje nanga, very good for your skin, for our skin. We don't want to do that, or we don't know how to do that. But when you find this lotion in a shop, we buy. It's something that you can actually do at home. So this will empower people, will empower our community to do their own things. The future plan of this project is that we want to capture lots of information for different regions, to cover actually all the regions in the country. We have already, have a website. If you just type in like Preserve Namibia Indigenous Knowledge, you will be able to see what we have put in our website. We also have a Facebook account. And what we would want to do is to design mobile applications so that you don't carry this DVD with you. You can actually just download something and have it at hand. So that when you're at home or wherever, you don't say, where's my documentary? You have it already on your account. And most definitely is that we want our indigenous knowledge to be as accessible as possible to all people. The challenge with documenting indigenous knowledge is that this project is labor intensive. It will take so many days for us to be in the field. So even identify people who have that skill still, to work with traditional leaders so that we get authorization to do that. And it's very expensive to do these documentaries. One of the, if you see this documentary, or this cover actually, there are 4 documentaries in here. And one documentary costs 30,000. One. So that means what I'm carrying here, you just multiply 30,000 by 4. It's in one. In this one. And we are selling this for $100. You ask why? It's because we want you to learn. We want you to have this. We want our people to have this information. So the NCRST have decided to invest in this because we know that it will be of a value to the country. A major concern on preservation of indigenous knowledge, I think the issue of intellectual property has been already said, and copyright issues. One thing for sure is that, why we are authorized to do this is because for us we are mandated to do this. The Minister of Education is mandated to ensure equal access to knowledge. And we don't just want to have knowledge, that is created by somebody else. It's also our call find our knowledge and also make it accessible. So we are mandated to do this, and the NCRST are also mandated to ensure that research is done in the country. So the issue of copyright here is that this is in a government hands, and we really, sometimes we think about the people, yes, but as much as we think about the people, we think about the country as well, and our children that are yet to come. So, and a good thing also is that some of the knowledge here that we document is in public domain. I can show you how to cook pap, you know, but nobody can claim that, you know, the recipe of pap is mine, because it's not mine. So it's in a public domain and it can be documented. I think, because we don't have so much time, I will probably just end it there with the conclusion that we need to aggressively address the issue of preservation of our Namibia indigenous knowledge. We need to document it, and we need to make it accessible. And it needs to be incorporated, you know, into the national policy and development documents. Because this is us, this is Namibia, and we need to really sell the Namibia that we want in the future. With that, ladies and gentlemen,